In the early hours of a clear night beneath the expanse of an unfathomably large sky, a Boeing 777 disappeared from human watch. This was Malaysia Airlines flight MH370, which joined the clouds as a routine passenger flight from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing and entered history as one of the greatest aviation mysteries of all time. With 239 souls on board, the aircraft vanished without trace on March 8, 2014, leaving behind distraught families and a baffled global community. The ensuing saga, one marked by ceaseless searching and ceaseless question marks, has weaved a tapestry that continues unspooling even a decade later. From the edge of that oblivion, one question echoes louder than the rest. How does a modern airliner disappear? Behind that question lies a maelstrom of pain, technological wonder, international tensions, and an unyielding quest for truth. This narrative seeks not just to recount the sequence of events and responses, but to immerse you in the mystique of MH370, a flight that not only lost its path in the physical world, but also, more tragically, in the corridors of clear understanding. March 8, 2014, began as an ordinary night with flight MH370 taking off from Kuala Lumpur International Airport at 12:41 a.m. local time. The aircraft, a Boeing 777-200ER, was expected to land in Beijing at 6:30 a.m. Winter winds were slight and weather reports predictable. But less than an hour into the flight, MH370 vanished from radar screens after communicating its last words to air traffic control. Good night, Malaysian 370. Just 40 minutes into its journey, as it neared the boundary between Malaysian and Vietnamese airspace, the transponder ceased transmission. The silence from MH370 birthed a chaos that would stretch out over years. The sudden disappearance prompted an immediate and widespread search operation. The initial search focused around the South China Sea, where the plane was last charted. However, cell tower analysis and satellite handshakes soon suggested a vastly different trajectory, leading investigators to the southern Indian Ocean, among the most remote and uncharted waters on the planet. News of the disappearance triggered a global reaction unprecedented in aviation history. Within hours, an international task force began forming, spearheaded by Malaysia but quickly involving over 26 countries, including China, the United States, and Australia. The international cooperation was palpable, as naval ships, aircraft, and specialist teams were deployed in a logistical ballet, reflecting the urgency and gravity of the situation. As the days turned into weeks, with no concrete evidence of the aircraft's location, the emotional toll on families grew palpable. Simultaneously, the pressure mounted on governments and agencies to secure answers, feeding a frenetic race against time and nature's vastness. Continuing beyond the initial phase, the search for MH370 became the most expensive in aviation history. The primary search area evolved with new data, eventually focusing on an area spanning 120,000 square kilometers in the southern Indian Ocean, an area known for its deep underwater canyons and harsh maritime conditions. In this grueling environment, search teams deployed advanced technologies such as autonomous underwater vehicles and deep-sea sonar. Nonetheless, the immense distances, the unpredictable weather, and the sheer depth of the ocean made the search an exemplar of human determination against natural immensity. Continued efforts, however, yielded few tangible results. The search team scoured seas and processed mountains of data, yet MH370 retained its enigmatic shroud, hidden somewhere in the immensity of Earth's watery skin. In the wake of MH370's disappearance, technology played a pivotal role, both in the form of advanced satellite communications and in the burgeoning field of data analytics. Investigators relied heavily on handshakes, automated signals between the aircraft and a satellite, which suggested that the plane continued flying for several hours after losing contact with ground control. Despite the initial absence of physical evidence, these electronic communications offered a ghostly narrative of MH370's path, venturing deep into the southern Indian Ocean. The data was groundbreaking, yet it underscored the limitations of our global surveillance capabilities in facing nature's vastness and unpredictability. The complexities of interpreting this data led to numerous recalibrations of the search area. Each shift represented a colossal effort of synthesis between technology, mathematics, and oceanographic sciences. Yet the challenge remained daunting, highlighting the sheer scale of the planet's unmonitored spaces. Behind the headlines and technological jargon are human stories of profound loss and enduring hope. Among the 239 people aboard were a young couple returning home, a group of artists, and seasoned business travelers. Each had a story, each a world undone in the mystery. Families of the missing formed a mosaic of grief and resilience. They organized vigils, confronted officials, and in some cases launched their own investigations. Their stories are testimonies to the enduring strength of the human spirit in the face of unimaginable loss. The narrative of MH370, therefore, is deeply woven with personal tales that transcend the technicalities of aircraft mechanics or satellite data, reminding us that at the heart of every tragedy are individuals whose lives are irrevocably changed. The disappearance of MH370 was a watershed event for international aviation, highlighting critical vulnerabilities in global flight tracking and cross-border communication protocols. It spurred a reevaluation of how flights are monitored, leading to new regulations aimed at preventing similar disappearances. Countries and airlines were pushed to adopt real-time tracking for commercial aircraft, a measure not mandatory at the time of MH370's flight. The tragedy thus catalyzed significant advances in safety measures, including better coordination during aviation emergencies, which has had a lasting impact on international air travel. These changes reflect a broader understanding of our interconnected world, where the safety of individuals often depends on international cooperation and technological integration. Years after the disappearance, several pieces of aircraft debris were discovered thousands of kilometers from the primary search area on the coasts of Africa and Indian Ocean islands. Each fragment brought a surge of hope for answers, yet also a poignant reminder of the tragedy. Oceanographers and experts in drift analysis worked to reverse engineer the debris pathway back to a possible crash location. This endeavor, involving complex models of ocean currents and wind patterns, aimed to narrow the search area further and provide some closure to the families. The analysis of these fragments has added crucial data, but also highlighted the daunting challenge of tracking debris across one of the world's most dynamic and uncharted environments. In the absence of definitive answers, a fertile ground for conspiracy theories took root. These range from plausible speculations about a hijacking or fire aboard the aircraft to more outlandish theories involving espionage and even supernatural phenomena. Each theory reflects a facet of human nature, our need for explanations and our discomfort with uncertainty. While these theories often lack empirical support, they underscore the profound impact of MH370 on the collective psyche, weaving a complicated web of fear, fascination, and fantasy. This part of the MH370 story is a dark mirror reflecting our times, a society grappling with the complexities of a globally connected world where truth can often be as elusive as a vanished airplane. The search for MH370 is not just a story of technological endeavor and international collaboration, but also of psychological endurance. The families of those on board, the search teams, and those following the story around the world have lived through a roller coaster of emotions, from hope and despair to frustration and fatigue. The psychological impact extends beyond immediate families to include the wider community of those involved in the search. Divers, pilots, scientists, and officials have all spoken of the toll taken by the relentless quest for answers in an environment that often seems to withhold as much as it reveals. This saga has thus not only tested physical resources, but also the emotional resilience of all those touched by the mystery, illustrating the profound human cost of such an enduring enigma. MH370 is not without precedent. though few aviation mysteries have captured the global imagination to this extent. Comparisons are often drawn to Air France Flight 447, which vanished over the Atlantic in 2009 and whose wreckage was located after a 2-year search, offering some closure to the grieving families. This comparison sheds light on the advancements in search technology and international cooperation since the loss of Flight 447, but also on the persistent challenges that face those who navigate the boundary between known and unknown spaces. By examining these comparative disasters, one gains perspective not only on the technological and procedural evolutions within aviation, but also on the human aspects of dealing with loss and the unknown. In the wake of MH370, the aviation industry has seen significant strides in technology and policy designed to ensure that such a disappearance never happens again. Real-time tracking technology, more rigorous mental health screenings for pilots, and enhanced communication protocols are just some of the advancements being implemented. These developments represent a critical step forward in mitigating risks and enhancing the safety net for future air travel. The dialogue around MH370 has consequently shifted from reactive to proactive, focusing on how we can use this tragedy to fuel innovations that protect passengers and make the mysteries of the past obsolete. This ongoing transformation in aviation safety underscores a commitment to learning from past mistakes and ensuring that the skies remain not just a realm of travel, but a domain of security and reliability. Despite the extensive search efforts and technological advancements, MH370 continues to elude definitive explanation. The whereabouts of the aircraft and the fate of those on board remain largely unknown, leaving a painful void for families and an unresolved chapter in aviation history. The enduring mystery of MH370 invites us to reflect on the limits of our control and knowledge, even in an age dominated by unprecedented technological capabilities. It challenges us to keep questioning, keep searching, and maintain a dialogue about safety, sovereignty, and the human aspects of global connectivity. As we look forward, the story of MH370 remains a haunting reminder of our vulnerabilities and a call to better understand and manage the vast, untamed spaces of our world. The quest for answers continues, as does the journey toward greater understanding and preparedness. For those touched by this tragedy, the hope for resolution endures, a beacon in the vast, unyielding expanse of our modern world. This exploration of MH370 is not just about a vanished airplane, but about the profound complexities and intersections of human life, technology, and the elemental forces of Earth. We are reminded that beyond the boundaries of what we know lies much that we do not, and it is in this space that the most compelling of human stories unfold. In the early hours of a clear night, beneath the expanse of an unfathomably large sky, a Boeing 777 disappeared from human watch.